chapters 1 to 10 in Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. This is a Newbery Medal winning book, and this is my second time reading this book, and I absolutely love this book. Also, some other books by Scott Odell is The Black Pearl, Streams to the River, River to the Sea, Black Star, Bright Dawn. So those are some of the books that he has also made. Some people say that this book is a little haunting and unusual, but I really like this book, so I hope that you guys also like the book too, okay guys? So there is an introduction, but you can just skip that. It's just an introduction from Lois Lowry, who is another famous author. She has written Number the Stars, which I actually have at my house, and I also have a book club about it. It's an amazing book, and she has also made The Giver, which I might not have a book club about yet, okay? And The Giver is a little higher, maybe for 9th graders, but Number the Stars is about for 8 to, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10, that level, maybe all the way to 13. I'm not very sure, but anyway, let's focus back on the Island of the Blue Dolphins, okay guys? Okay, so before we start, I wanted to ask you, what do you think the Island of the Blue Dolphins, when you read that title, or you might, if you had an audiobook, then maybe you heard that title, what did you think? What did you automatically think about when you read that title? Or heard that title, but I'm just gonna talk about reading, okay? But anyway, so what did you think when you read the Island of the Blue Dolphins? Did you think that it was an island with a lot of blue dolphins, or did you think that it was an island that was shaped like a dolphin? What do you think? Or do you think it was both? Okay, so chapter 1. We're gonna start with chapter 1. And there was this ship, right? An Alouette ship. And so Karana, right? So this is Karana. We learned that her name later, but let's just use Karana, right? Because in the 10 chapters we learn her name. So Karana saw an Alouette ship, right? And the ship, how many ships have you seen in your life? A lot, right? So, Karana, just the first paragraph, right? I will read the first paragraph. It is, I remember the day the Alouette ship came to our island. At first it seemed like a small shell afloat on the sea. Then it grew larger and was a gull with folded wings. At last, in the rising sun, it became what it really was, a red ship with 2 sails. How did you like the metaphors? Like gull with folded wings or small shell afloat on the sea. What did you think about those metaphors? And just on that, and like on the first, second, and third pages, what did you begin to guess about this kid? What did you think? Did you begin to think that she was an Indian? How do you like Karana anyway? How would you describe her? And what about Ramo? How do you like Ramo? And we see that he is a troublemaker. Or not a troublemaker really, but, well, I'm going to talk about that a little later, okay? Anyway, also, I wanted to ask you, have you ever eaten any roots? If you have, it's not like, I wanted to ask you about something else though, okay? Why do you think that Karana is excited about the ship? Why is she excited? I mean, well, of course it would be exciting if it was the first ship, of course, but for what specific reason in your opinion? And if you weren't Karana, would you be scared or would you be terrified? And also, do you think, there was these Alouettes, right? We began to see all of them. Did you think they were threatening or not? And how did you think of Captain Orlov? How would you describe him? And Why do you think that Karana's father trusts Captain Orlov? Well, not exactly trust, but Chief Chowig, or Karana's father, gives his real name, and he approves these people to be on their island, right? Did you think that was a good choice or not? And also, because remember, there was something about another hunt, right? And this hunt was probably not the best hunt in the world. So we have to think about that. But anyway, I wanted to ask you about Captain Orlov. Were you a little scared when Captain Orlov and Karana's father, Chief Chowig, began to argue a little about how much Chief Chowig gets the Indians, right? Were you a little scared? But anyway, Captain Orlov is now in the island of the Blue Dolphins, and now it explains about the island of the Blue Dolphins, that it was sort of shaped like a dolphin, and also there was a lot of dolphins near it. Have you ever seen a dolphin? I have. They're awesome. But anyway, why do you think that the island of the Blue Dolphins, in your opinion, do you think it's because of the shape, because of dolphins around it, or because of both? And how did you like it that the people were hunting otters? I mean, like, the otters are so cute, and the babies are so cute, and they actually are a very important part of the ecosystem. Without them, and it's not just because any animal is important to the ecosystem, otters are one of the most important animals in the ecosystem because they eat sea urchins, and if they don't eat sea urchins, the sea urchins will eat everything, kelp, just everything, and then the fish that lived in the kelp are gone because the kelp is gone, and then the otters are gone. Everything's gone. So sea otters are really, really, really important. But anyway, if you were the Indians, would you spy on the Russian or the Alouettes, or would you be too scared to spy on them? And also, there's also Karana's older sister, right? Lupe, and she says that there was a wife or a girl who was with the Alouettes. Did you believe her or not? And why? And if so, why do you think the Alouettes brought her? And also, how did you think the people in the village felt when they discovered the bass? Of course, it was very important for them. They were joyous, but how joyous do you think they were? Remember, these people were hunting for food. This was like their only survival. How do you think they felt about all this? And also, do you like fish? I've just asked these random questions sometimes, but also I wanted to ask you about something else, and it is the relationships between the Alouettes and the Indians are getting a little edgy, right? A little, not the best, right? So because you see, the Alouette wants to fish, but Captain Chowig, Karana's father, says no. So, how do you think that Captain Orlov will respond to this? It doesn't say really, but still, how do you think that he will respond to this? And also, I wanted to ask you, the Alouettes left, right? But I wanted to ask you about something else. Do you think that that Karana's father was expecting something, like that they would escape quickly without giving the Indians anything? Do you think that he was expecting that or not? And also, the Alouettes left, right? And the Alouettes and the Indians fought. Okay, so this is a very, very, very sad part of the story. And actually, I wanted to talk about this, okay? And it is, what do you think about Captain Orlov now? Do you hate him? And also, what did you think about the beads that Captain Orlov, Orlov offered to the Indians, right? Orlov gave them, right? Do you think that it was right for him to just give them instead of the otter pelts? Okay, and I also wanted to ask you about the fight. How do you think that Karana felt about her father dying? Well, of course, she was sad, but how exactly do you think she felt? And how did you feel about the battle? Did you like it or did you not like it? Is it one of those parts that you just want to forget and then you're like, just try to forget that part? Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so chapter 5. Do you think that this day would be the most terrible day of all in Galaset? And what did you think of all those deaths? How do you think that the whole village felt like? And if you had to describe, if you had to make a metaphor about this, like, like metaphors are, or a simile, or actually both, okay? You know how a metaphor, a simile, I'll go with simile, is comparing something with like or as, like this. I don't know, let's see. Okay, what about this couch I'm sitting on, right? I could say, this couch is as comfortable as a cloud. And I put, look, I did this. This couch is as comfortable as a cloud. I use, and simile is used by like or as, and I put as, right? So this is, I just said a simile, but I could also just do this. This one. The bully at my school was a giant. I didn't use anything, right? I just said that he was a giant. He's not really a giant, but he was really strong and big, So, that's what I mean. So how would you describe the mood at Galaset? Or how would you just describe Galaset? And you have to use simile and metaphor, not in the same sentence, just in different sentences. Also, I wanted to ask you, how do you think that the men, if you were the men, then how would you feel about the woman taking over? And also, do you think that Kim Ki had made a good choice on that or not? And also, I wanted to ask you about Kim Ki's decision to go to another country far away. What did you think about this decision? And if you're Kim Ki, would you have been scared or not? I would have certainly be scared. First of all, I get seasick really quickly. Car sick, not that much, but a little sometimes. So, so I'd be scared that I wouldn't be able to get there and I would be lost at sea. Would you? But anyway, I also wanted to ask you about Kim Ki and not returning. How do you think that the people of Galaset felt about all this? And do you think they felt despair? Or do you think they were despairing? And how do you think that Karana felt about all this? And also, there's another ship coming, right? If you were the Alouettes, would you have stayed to fight or would you have just left like they were trying to do? But it isn't the Alouettes, right? This is really cool, right? Because they are now going. Awesome, right? But, there's something wrong, right? It's that, Karana's sister, Ranko. Ranko, right? Ranko is left. But before I talk about this, I wanted to talk about how they felt. Sorry, not Ranko. Sorry. Ramo. Oh man. Okay. But anyway, I wanted to ask you, how do you think they felt when they learned this news? And what do you think that Kim Ki was doing just at that moment anyway? And where do you think that they will live when they get to shore anyway? Okay, but anyway, I wanted to ask you about something else, and it is this. actually about the boats. I mean, about Karana's decision to go back, right, to the island. If you were Karana, would you have left Ramo behind or not? And do you think that it was smart of her to just jump overboard? And also, if you were Karana, would you have forgave Ramo, or would you have screamed and shouted at him and been very, very, very angry at him? But why do you think that suddenly when she stepped onto the beach, why do you think that suddenly she softened? Would you have softened if you were Karana? And how do you think that Karana felt when she was swimming and she was in the middle of the storm and she was like and under her there was like about like, let's say about 30 whole feet of water, right? How do you think she felt about all of this? There's a lot of water beneath her, maybe more than 30 feet, maybe 50 feet. But anyway, how do you think she felt when swimming? But anyway, okay. So I'm gonna talk about chapter 8. And how do you think that Karana felt when she saw those dogs? How do you like these dogs? And also, do you want those dogs to all die? And do you think that Karana and Ramo, do you think they will survive or not? And if you were Ramo, would you want the ship to come back or not? And also, Ramo says that he's gonna meet Chief. Do you think that's a good idea or not? And if you're Ramo, would you want to be a chief? And also, how did you like the way on how someone had to become a man, right? Like, you had to whip you with a switch of nettles and tie you to a red anthill. Do you think that was sensible or not? And now, what do you think of Ramo's new name, right? So, Ramo went to the canoes. Did you think that was a good idea to just go on alone? And did you have a feeling that there was something bad was going to happen? But anyway, do you think that Karana should have gone or not? Or do you should have gone to protect Ramo? Or do you think that if she had gone, then she would have also been killed? But anyway, how do you think that Karana felt? Well, of course, when Ramo died, of course she felt terrible and sad. But still, use the metaphor this time, just a metaphor. How would you describe Karana's sadness? And if Ramo had died, do you think that Karana even had a will to live? She was just gonna live in an island in the middle of the ocean. She just had to survive. There wasn't anything that she could really do. There's no companion. Really sad, right? Okay, so it is really sad. Now do you really want to kill those dogs? And also, so now Karana wants to leave the village. And if you were Karana, would you have left the village or not? Because the village has huts and all that. But she just burns them all because they're memories of her her family and her friends, right? And even if do you think that place, that village, will now be forever haunted by the people who had lived there, even if everything had been burned down? And anyway, I want to ask you about the place that Karana chose to live. What did you think about this place? Did you think it was pretty good? And also, do you think that Karana should have made the bow and arrow quickly or not? And do you think that anything bad will happen to Karana if she had actually used her if she had actually made the weapons? But also, if you had been Karana, would you have just thrown the bracelets and the necklaces, really cool necklaces, into the water? And if you had been Karana, so also, how do you think that Karana felt when she was throwing those necklaces into the water? And And what did you think of Karana's weapons anyway? Did you think that was pretty cool? And now I wanted to ask you about something. Oh, okay, and I thought that this was really cool. So this is, okay. So I'm gonna read a paragraph, okay? It is, gathering these things was not the most of the trouble. I had seen the weapons made, but I knew little about it. I had seen my father sitting in the hut on winter nights, scraping the wood for the shafts, chipping the stones for the tips, and tying the feathers. Yet I had watched him and really seen nothing. I had watched, but not with the eye of one who would ever to do it. And I wanted to ask you about this. Okay, this is a part of the second to last sentence. It is, yet I had watched him and really seen nothing. Okay, what do you think about this? And have you ever had a moment like that? Think on all your memories. If you haven't, then maybe it will come up, right? There's a long life ahead of you. Okay. And Karana, the ship keeps on not coming. If you had been Karana, would you have just given up waiting after all this time? Yeah, okay, but anyway, so Karana went to sea. Did you think that was a good idea? And also, did you think that she was gonna survive? But I wanted to talk about something else, and it is when Karana left the home that she has been living for her whole life. She has gone nowhere else. How do you think she felt about this? Did you think that she felt scared and alone? And also, why do you think that the first star made Karana less afraid? I mean, it is comforting, but to you, what is comforting? And it has to be in nature, because Karana can't comforting by a doll, right? She doesn't have a doll. So something in nature. What is something comforting in nature? And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the sea or the sky. It can be anywhere, okay? Also, what did you think about Karana's navigating skills? Did you think that that was cool? And when the first leak came, did you have a feeling that there was going to be more leaks? And do you think that was sort of like the first, that was a little foreshadowing that something bad was going to happen? If you do not know what a foreshadowing means, it's something like a sign or a hint that means that something bad is going to happen. And when the first leak came, do you think that was foreshadowing that more leaks were gonna come anyway, and soon enough? And okay, so I also wanted to ask you about something else, and it was actually about Karana's decision to leaving home. And what I wanted to ask you about that was, did you think that was a very good idea? But then the Dolphins came. So the title is called Island of the Blue Dolphins. So what did you think when the Dolphins came? And do you like dolphins? But also, when she went to the island, do you think that even if this happened a little haunted, do you think that she felt a little bit of comfort inside her? And the last sentence was this. Well, actually, the last two sentences. It was this. I was too tired to think of the wild dogs. Soon I fell asleep. Well, there was the part about the wild dogs. Do you think that the wild dogs will try to kill her when she's asleep? But anyway, this is the 10 chapters in Island of the Blue Dolphins. It gets much more interesting, and it is just one of my favorite books, all-time favorite books. I hope that you really enjoyed this awesome, amazing book with me. But anyway, I did want to ask you about your favorite part in these chapters, and how did you like this book so far? Did you think that it was a little too sad? But anyway, It will get better. I promise you that. What was your favorite character here? And it's based on Karana, right? Karana's the main character, but do you have any favorite characters? What do you predict is gonna happen next? Do you think that she's gonna build herself a house? How is it gonna survive? Or do you think that the ship will come? But anyway, I hope that you had a great, awesome time with me and Island of the Blue Dolphins. And just have a great rest of your day or night. And also, if you see any dolphins, then that means that it is good luck, because in the book it spells good luck. Okay, guys?